Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is Loka Dhamma Sutta, that is, Loka Dhamma, the 8 worldly conditions. Now, this is the discourse. This discourse was delivered by Buddha while he was staying in Savatthi, and it's about the nature of the world. See, this sutta is a part of the series we have undertaken for this Vasavasa, that is the rains retreat, 3 months rains retreat. During this retreat we'll deal with the first discourse of the Buddha entitled the Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta. The discourse of the turning or setting in motion the wheel of truth. That is the first sutta when translated. Is the so during this retreat, 3 months retreat, we'll be dealing with that sutta, and today's discourse, the sutta will be a part of it. It has been translated by us, and we'll read it out for the benefit of and then we'll dilate on this subject. Now the subject is Loka Dhamma, the 8 worldly conditions. Here the Buddha says, monks, there are these 8 worldly conditions which keep the world turning around, and the world too turns around these 8 worldly conditions. What are the 8? Gain and loss, fame and disrepute, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. Monks, these 8 worldly conditions occur both to an uninstructed or wrongly instructed worldly person. And they also occur to a well-instructed, enlightened, noble disciples. Now, regarding these conditions, what is the distinction, the disparity, or the difference between a well-instructed, enlightened, noble disciple and an uninstructed or wrongly instructed worldly person? Lord, our understanding of these things is rooted in the Blessed One. It has Blessed One as the guide and the resort. Therefore, it would be good indeed, Lord, if the meaning of this statement is explained by the Blessed One himself. And having heard from him, the monks will bear it in mind. Well then, monks, carefully listen and be attentive. I shall now speak. Yes, Lord, replied the monks. The Blessed One then spoke thus, monks, when an uninstructed or wrongly instructed worldly person comes upon gain, he does not reflect on it thus. This gain that has come to me is impermanent. It is bound up with suffering, and it is always subject to change, and that too change for the worse, vicissitude. And this, because because he does not understand the nature of these worldly conditions as they really are. Likewise, it is when he comes upon loss or upon, let's say, fame or disrepute or praise or blame, pleasure or pain, it's the same. Because he does not understand their true nature. See, he does not wisely reflect upon them. So the sutta continues, he says, when gain comes, for instance, he is elated. And when he faces loss, he is dejected. When fame comes, he is elated. And when he faces disrepute, he is dejected. When praise comes, he is elated. And when he faces blame, he is dejected. Likewise, when he experiences pleasure, he is elated. And when he experiences pain, he is dejected. Thus, being fully involved in likes and dislikes, he would not be free, or he would not be freed from birth, aging and death, from sorrow and lamentation, from pain, grief and despair. And I declare that he would not be freed from the sufferings of worldly existence. But monks, when a well-instructed, enlightened, noble disciple comes upon gain, he reflects wisely on this in this manner. This gain that has come to me is impermanent. It is bound up with suffering and subject to change. Likewise, he will also reflect when he faces loss or when he comes across fame or disrepute, praise or blame, pleasure or pain. He clearly understands all these things as they really are, and they do not therefore engross his mind. Thus, he would not be elated by gain or dejected by loss. He would not be elated by fame or be dejected by disrepute. Elated by praise or dejected by blame. Elated by pleasure or dejected by pain. Having thus given up both likes and dislikes, he will be freed indeed from birth, aging and death, from sorrow and lamentation, from pain, grief and despair, and I declare he will be freed from sufferings of worldly existence. Monks, this is the distinction, the disparity and the difference between a well-instructed, enlightened, noble disciple and an uninstructed or wrongly instructed worldly person. Then he recited this verse: gain and loss, fame and disrepute, praise and blame, pleasure or pain, these things are ever transient in human life and bound up to change for the worse. A mindful and wise person discerns them well, and being observant of their changefulness. Pleasant things do not fascinate his mind, nor again the unpleasant deject him. All likes and dislikes are dispelled by him. They are eliminated and abolished. With clear understanding of that transcendental state, that stainless, sorrowless, transcendental state of Nibbana, the ultimate state of freedom. He now fully comprehends reality. Being one, he has reached the beyond, having gone beyond all the pairs of opposites, the dichotomies of the world, of worldly existence. Now this is the translation of the Loka Dhamma Sutta. We have mentioned that this part, it forms part of this series. Today is the third of the series. Now, last time we discussed about these 8 Loka Dhammas also, but from a different standpoint, you see, from a different angle. It will be worth examining what we have already discussed last time. So we'll recall it. Now, what we mentioned discussed last time was the scene of Asoka's plundering of the kingdom of Kalinga. A few words about Asoka would be useful. Now, Asoka became the emperor of Magadha, and indeed a very famous emperor in his later days, but he was known as Asoka the Fierce, Chanda Asoka, Asoka the Fierce, because he was a militarist, he believed in war, he believed in grabbing the territories of other countries, and he had really expanded his kingdom, which extended right up to Himalaya in the north and Vindhyachala in the south, and up to Kalinga now, that is up to the sea, eastern sea, and Afghanistan, Gandhara, west. It's a huge area. Actually, before he became the emperor, he was only a governor of that area, the frontier province today, in Pakistan, and part of Kashmir. So, his grandfather, Chandragupta Maurya, he won this area. He had challenged the Macedonian king Alexander, who had come and attacked that area. He fought and he won, and Alexander had to retreat. So, from that time, the Gandhara came under the rule of this particular kingdom, and they became very, very powerful in North India. They practically covered the entire North India. So now he was a governor, and though he was the youngest son, but he was a genius in military science. So he was appointed by his father. He conquered a lot of area there, and he built up a huge army of these fierce tribal people of that area. Even today they are known for their love for fight and war. So now Asoka, when his father was in the deathbed, he decided to become himself the king. Though he was only a junior, he was the last. And there was a struggle, and he won. He killed all his brothers. And this is the story of the man. So, however, now, after his father's death, he attacked Kalinga. He had brought his army all the way from Afghanistan and went and attacked. Kalinga was a very, very prosperous country. It had many ports, and there was a lot of foreign trade through this territory, this region. And Ashoka, he won the war, but he lost his mind. So when he came to see the Kalinga, he went and inspected the battlefields, various battlefields. He was so shocked and he was literally devastated within, seeing vast area becoming just in desolation and empty areas, once great cities and towns, now empty. People had all left and run away. A large number of people had died, more than 1 million. So it so happened that when he was making an assessment of how he would go about reconstructing the area and build up those ports again, now he completely lost his ability to sleep. For 7 days he could not sleep. So on the 8th day he was practically mad, he was crazy. So in the midnight he got up. He had his big camp and the army with him. And just by the side of the camp there was the cremation ground for the royal families and so on, and the ministers and the big people. So there he was roaming about without knowing that this is a cremation ground. Dead silence in the cremation ground, and he was moving about. Suddenly a sound appeared, and the sound said, "Devanam Piya, come here, there is peace here." He said, "Why, I am an emperor. Who dares to call me by my private name, my personal name? Only my parents can do that, and they are no more." So he was he became angry, completely upset. He pulled out his sword and he said, "I am going to behead this, whoever is the fellow." And he followed. Then again the sound came, the same thing. So he followed. Now he knew which direction is coming from. And as he went there, third time when it was going quite close, again the third time, but this time very reassuring sound. It didn't sound very hostile or anything like that. He said, "Ashoka, there is peace here, please. Please come and sit down." There he saw a banyan tree, a huge banyan tree, and underneath a figure sitting, very peaceful figure, a monk, a young monk. And who was this monk? His name was Nigrodha. And he was actually his own nephew. He had killed his Nigrodha's father, the eldest, who would have been the king. And now he had become a monk earlier, even when father was there. And he had become an arahat and a fully enlightened disciple of the Buddha, endowed with all kinds of supernormal powers, very wise indeed, and full of compassion for the new king, and now an emperor. So he said, "Majesty, please be seated in this beautiful carpet, grass carpet. You will find peace. You will relax. Don't worry. Sit down." Now when he said like this, all his anger and everything evaporated. He said, well, he just sat down. He just obeyed for the first time. Ashoka had never obeyed anybody on earth, or for that matter maybe about the heavens. But now he obeyed. Quietly he sat down. Now this monk focused his mind. He started meditating on universal love, metta bhavana. It's a technique of meditation which focused on loving kindness or universal love. So a selfless spiritual love. And it was so powerful. He felt that he was as though he had plunged into something very serene, very tranquil and very calm. And lo and behold, he slept. It was around midnight. So he began to snore and he was sleeping. All the sleep he had lost for a week, all that restored. So around 3 or 3:30 or 4, just before dawn, now he woke up. And there the monk said, "Now, Majesty, be calm. Wake up, be happy." When he says, "be happy," Ashoka began to not only smile but laugh, and he was so happy. And literally the words of the master, of this great monk, you see, overwhelmed him with his love for him. Now he had killed his father, but for an arahat, for a holy one, is an enlightened, liberated saint, for him those things did not matter. He loved all equally. So he said, "My dear, you have now become," he called him "my dear." Ashoka melted. It was a powerful emotion. He began to cry. He had never cried. My goodness, he is a ferocious militarist. And now, in that atmosphere,